Alright, so here in this video, we're going to look at functional group. Functional group. So what is a functional group? A functional group is an atom, a radical, or a bond common to a homologous series, which determines the main chemical properties of the series. Again, functional group is an atom, a radical, or a bond common to a homologous series, which determines the main chemical properties of the series. Alright, so functional group is that atom, is an atom. It could be a radical or a bond, alright, that is common to a homologous series, which determines the main chemical properties of the series. So here we have different homologous series, and here we have their functional group. So the first homologous series is the alkanes. That is the simplest homologous series, and the functional group is a carbon to carbon single bond. So the functional group of the alkane is a single bond. That is what determines the main chemical properties of what of the alkane. The functional group of the alkene is what? The carbon to carbon double bond. So the functional group is the carbon to carbon what? Double bond. That is peculiar to the alkenes. It is peculiar to that homologous series, and that is what determines the main chemical properties of the alkene. The next homologous series that we have is the alkynes. Alkynes. So the functional group of the alkyne is the carbon to carbon triple bond. Alright, so the functional group is the carbon to carbon triple bond. That is peculiar to the alkynes. So any alkyne you will see will have a carbon to carbon triple bond. That is what determines the main chemical properties of the alkynes. Alright, then we have the alkanols. The alkanols, the functional group of the alkanol is the OH group, also known as the hydroxyl group. So this OH group is known as what? The hydroxyl. It is called the hydroxyl group. Alright? The OH group is the functional group of the alkanols. That is what determines the main chemical properties of the alkanol. Then the next homologous series that we have here is the alkanoic acid, and they are also called carboxylic acids. Alright, alkanoic acid are also known as what? Are also called carboxylic acid. And the functional group is the COOH group, which is the carboxylic acid group. Alright, this group, COOH group, is called the carboxylic acid group. Alright, carboxylic acid group. Alright, this is what determines the main chemical properties of what? The alkanoic acid. Then we have the alkanoid, and they are also known as what? Esters. So the functional group of the esters, also known as alkanoids, is what? COO. COO. Alright, so this is the alkanoid group. Alright, this is the alkanoid group. So any alkanoid you will see will have this functional group. That is what determines the main chemical properties of the alkanoid. Then we have alkanals. They are also referred to as what? Aldehyde. And their functional group is the CHO group. Alright, this is what determines the main chemical properties of the alkanals. Then we have alkanones. They are also known as what? Ketones. So the functional group of the ketone is the CO group. Alright, the CO group. This is known as the alkanone group. This is what determines the main chemical properties of the alkanones. The next homologous series are the ethers, and the functional group is the O group. Alright, this is the ether group. Their functional group is what? O. This is the ether group. Any ether you will see at all will have this functional group, and this is what determines the main chemical properties of the ether. Then we have primary amines. The functional group of the primary amines is the NH2 group. Alright, so this is the primary amine group. Any primary amine you will see will have this functional group, and this is what determines the main chemical properties of what? The amines. All right. So again, functional group is an atom. So it is an atom, a radical, or a bond common to a homologous series which determines the main chemical properties of the series. So you must know this definition. All right. And it's very important that you know the functional group of all the homologous series. And it is well spelled out here. All right. So here are the functional group of the different homologous series that we have. So this is the alkanal, and this is their functional group. Remember we said that their functional group is the CHO group, all right? CHO. This is the alkanal group. This arrow you are seeing here represents an alkyl group, all right? This represents an alkyl group. So this is the functional group of the alkanones, the CO group. All right, this is the functional group of the alkanols, also known as ketones. This arrow you are seeing here represents the alkyl group. All right, then this is the carboxylic acid group. All right, this is the functional group for carboxylic acid, and it is COOH. All right, this arrow you are seeing here is the alkyl group. All right, so I can have an example of an alkyl is CH3. This is methyl, right? This is an example of an alkyl. So I can have CH3 here. This is ethanoic acid. All right, ethanoic acid, because there are two carbon, right? Ethanoic acid. So this arrow, you can put any alkyl group there. You can put methyl, you can put ethyl, you can decide to put any alkyl group and name your compound. All right. Then this is the alkanols. This is the functional group of the alkanol, OH. All right. The arrow that you see here is the what? Alkyl group. Then this is the functional group for the primary amines, NH2. All right. The arrow that you see here is the alkyl group. Then this is the functional group for the alkanoids, also known as esters. So this arrow and arrow that you're seeing here represents the alkyl group. All right. So the alkanoids is like this. This is the functional group. All right. Then we have the ethers. The ethers, this is the functional group. All right. This arrow and arrow that you're seeing here represents the alkyl group. All right. So again, functional group is an atom, a radical, or a bond common to a homologous series which determines the main chemical properties of the series. So it is very important that you know this table, know everything in this table. All right. Know the different homologous series that we have and their functional group.